from Des Moines, Iowa, a special edition of This Week with George Stephanopoulos, the Iowa Debates, co-sponsored with our Des Moines affiliate, ABC5. This morning, the Republican presidential candidates. The first debate of the 2008 presidential campaign held in Iowa. Now, live from the Sheslow Auditorium on the campus of Drake University, the moderator of our debate and This Week anchor, George Stephanopoulos.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of This Week. We're here at Drake University for the first Sunday morning debate of this presidential campaign. All 9 Republican candidates for president are with us, and let's get right to them and how they stand here in Iowa according to our latest ABC News poll. The front runner at 26%, Mitt Romney, former governor of Massachusetts. Former mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, is next at 14%. Mike Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas, is at 8%. Also at 8%, Senator John McCain of Arizona. Kansas Senator Sam Brownback is at 5%. He is tied with Congressman Tom Tancredo of Colorado, also at 5%. Former Governor of Wisconsin Tommy Thompson follows at 4%. Then Congressman Ron Paul of Texas at 2%. And Congressman Duncan Hunter of California rounds out the field at 1%. Former Senator Fred Thompson is not yet a candidate and not here today, but here in Iowa he polls at 13%. Of course, this is just a snapshot. A lot could happen between now and the Iowa caucuses. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
As you can see, I'm joined here by David Yepsen, the Dean of Political Columnists here in Iowa of the Des Moines Register. And our goal today is to get a real debate going among all of you, to find out where you stand on the issues, but also to figure out the real differences that separate you. And in that spirit, here in Iowa, you've already been going at each other, somewhat beneath the radar screen on the issue of abortion. Senator Brownback, your campaign has been making phone calls to Iowa voters about Mitt Romney. And I want to show it for our viewers. It's called an urgent action alert.
Mitt Romney is telling Iowans that he is firmly pro-life. Nothing could be further from the truth. As late as 2005, Mitt Romney pledged to support and uphold pro-abortion policies and pass taxpayer funding of abortions in Massachusetts. His wife, Ann, has contributed money to Planned Parenthood. Mitt told the National Abortion Rights Action League that you need someone like me in Washington.
Senator Brownback, do you stand by that attack?
I certainly do. There's one word that describes that ad, and it's truthful. That's a truthful ad. And that's what campaigns are about, too, George, as far as getting the truth out, expressing the differences between candidates. These are good people that are up on this stage. That's a truthful ad. I am pro-life. I think this is a core issue for our party. I think it's a big issue for our country. I'm pro-life and I'm whole life. I think that all life at all stages is sacred and it's beautiful. I think it's something we ought to fight for. It's what this party has stood for. It's what we should stand for.
Governor Romney, everything in that ad true?
Virtually nothing in that ad is true.
What's wrong with it?
The single word I'd use would be desperate or perhaps negative.
But before
frankly,
we move on, you said it's not true. We have it up on the screen. What is untrue?
I am pro-life. That's the truth. And several years ago, when we faced the issue of cloning of embryos in our state, I wrote an op-ed piece in the Boston Globe and said I'm pro-life. And every action I've taken as governor of Massachusetts has been pro-life. This is a very difficult decision. We're involved in the lives of 2 people, a mom and an unborn child. And yet I've come down on the side of saying I'm in favor of life.
But are any of the specific charges there untrue?
Sure. The Massachusetts Citizens for Life just several months ago brought me in and gave me an award for my public leadership on the basis of being pro-life. So the best way you can learn about someone is not by asking their opponent, but ask them, what do you believe and what's your view? And I am pro-life. And virtually every part of that ad is inaccurate. I'm pro-life. My positions are pro-life. The idea that, for instance, I've been in favor of taxpayer funding of abortion, that's wrong. I oppose taxpayer funding of abortion. In our state, we passed a medical plan that reduces the number of people who receive state funding for abortion. So the ad is just completely wrong.
George, if I could, you can go up on YouTube and see the governor himself speaking himself
source
about where he is on this position. And I
in 1994, Sam,
the governor himself.
I was pro-choice. I am pro-life, and I'm tired of a person who's...
And it is a truthful position. Every piece of that is truthful.
Governor
Romney, on YouTube and look for the governor what he says himself.
Governor Romney,
you can go back to YouTube and look at what I said in 1994. I never said I was pro-choice, but my position was effectively pro-choice. I've said that time and time again. I changed my position when I was governor and when I faced an issue of life or death. When the first time a bill came to my desk that related to the life of an unborn child, I came down on the side of life. And I put that in the Boston Globe and explained why. And I get tired of people who are holier than thou because they've been pro-life longer than I have.
Governor Romney,
Look,
you've also been trying...
I'm proud of the fact...
You have also been drawing contrast with Mayor Giuliani during this campaign. I want to show our viewers something you said about Mayor Giuliani on the Christian Broadcasting Network this spring.
He is pro-choice and pro-gay marriage and anti-gun, and that's a tough combination in a Republican primary.
Do you stand by that? And what is it that you fear President Giuliani would do on those issues?
I think Rudy Giuliani is a terrific American and a wonderful mayor. That was very early in the process. I think I've gotten a better view. Yeah, it was in March. He wasn't a candidate yet. I think I have a better perspective on his views now. Not entirely, but a pretty good view on his positions. And I'd rather let him speak for his own positions than me speak for them. And I've done my best to let other candidates speak about their own positions.
Now let's meet the candidates. Congressman Tom Tancredo of Colorado, a former state legislator and current 5-term member of the House. Congressman Ron Paul of Texas, the 1988 Libertarian Party nominee for president who is currently serving his 10th term in Congress. Mike Huckabee of Arkansas, who served 2 full terms as his state's governor and is also a Baptist minister. Rudy Giuliani of New York City, former U.S. attorney and 2-term mayor. Mitt Romney of Massachusetts, most recently governor of that state, and the man who ran the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics. Senator John McCain of Arizona, now serving his 4th term in the Senate after 2 previous terms in the U.S. House. Senator Sam Brownback of Kansas, a former congressman currently serving his 2nd term in the U.S. Senate. And Congressman Duncan Hunter of California, a 14-term representative. Here now is the format of this debate. Each candidate will be asked a series of questions on foreign policy, domestic issues, and perhaps other matters. Answers are limited to 1 minute each. If we decide rebuttal time is needed, that will be 30 seconds. We have green, yellow, and red lights to help the candidates keep track of their time. And if an answer runs long, candidates and everyone else will hear this sound. We ask the audience please to limit applause during the question and answer portion of the debate so we can devote as much time as possible to the candidates themselves. Let's get started. We will cover a number of issues tonight, but first a political question about the man who isn't here and will not even announce his candidacy for president until tomorrow. I'm talking, of course, about Senator Fred Thompson. Now, a Thompson ad is just run on the Fox News channel. He will be a guest later tonight with Jay Leno. Polls have him in 2nd or 3rd place, depending on whether you're looking at national polls or some of the early state polls. So the question is, who has made the smart moves here? You guys who are here and have been out on the trail all this time, or Senator Thompson? Let me start with you. Governor Huckabee, what do you think?
Well, Britt, I was scheduled to be on Jay Leno tonight, but I gave up my slot for somebody else because I'd rather be in New Hampshire with these fine people. You know, Britt, Fred is from Nashville, Tennessee, home of George Jones, who is often called No-Show George for not showing up at his concerts. And maybe Senator Thompson will be known as the no-show for the presidential debates. But I'm proud to be sharing the stage with these guys because we're running for president, and we're delighted to be here, and I certainly appreciate getting this opportunity.
Congressman Paul, you've been out beating the bushes, looking for votes and getting your ideas out all this time, and look where he stands and look where the rest of you guys stand. What do you think?
Well, I welcome him to the race because, very specifically, he will help dilute the vote for my benefit because he will be pro-war, and I'm the anti-war candidate representing the Republican traditional position.
Senator McCain, the guy's a former colleague of yours. How do you feel about the way he's handled it?
Well, I think that's a decision that Fred should make. Maybe we're up past his bedtime. But the point is, I think that, you know, one thing I know about New Hampshire, and I know well, is that the people of New Hampshire expect to see you. They expect to see you a lot. And they expect to see you at town hall meetings and at places all over this great state of New Hampshire, and they expect to examine you before they make up their mind. One of the many Arizonans who ran for President of the United States, unsuccessfully like all of us, Morris Udall once, he was a very funny man, as you know, once he said, a fellow in Manchester said to the other one, "What do you think about Mo Udall for president?" And the guy said, "I don't know, I only met him twice." And you know, the reason why that joke is funny is because it's true. And my advice to Fred is, get out into the arena, Fred. It's a lot of fun.
Governor Romney?
You know, the only question I have for Senator Thompson is, why the hurry? Why not take some more time off? Maybe January, February might be a better time to make a final decision about getting in this race. But for all of us, we're going to welcome him into the race. He's going to bring a lot to it. He's a great personality. He'll have new ideas. I think he's going to bring more entertainment and vigor and ideas to the Republican platform. So I welcome him into this, but I agree with all those that have spoken. There's nothing like getting to know the folks in New Hampshire and Iowa, South Carolina, Michigan. In New Hampshire and Iowa alone, over this last year, I have done 462 events, town meetings, one-on-one meetings, and that's the way to get to know people.
Mr. Mayor, your thoughts?
I like Fred a lot. I think Fred is a really, really good man. I think he's done a pretty good job of playing my part on Law and Order. I personally prefer The Real Thing, but I think Fred will add something to this race. Right. I think this is a nomination you have to earn, though. Nobody's going to give it to you. Nobody's going to grant it to you. Nobody is going to crown you. You got to go out there and, like these gentlemen have done, and I've done, you got to meet people in Iowa and New Hampshire and all over the country. You got to work hard for this. And finally, I think it's going to come down to experience. This is not a time that the United States should be electing someone who's going to get on-the-job training. You need people with executive experience, and my real concern is you have 3 leaders